nothing been changed. I see your face whenever it rains, oh no, no. You honeysuckle on the windowsill, summer when it started, see it blooming like the flowers.
Good evening, Reprezent. You are locked in with Ralph. It's Thursday evening, it's 11 p.m, and we're changing it up a little bit today. We're veering from the sort of darker shades and regions of electronic music. We're breaking the mold, you could say, because tonight, I'm joined in the studio by the artist and singer Sidders. Sidders, good to have you here. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me. I'm very excited.
Good.
I've been a fan of the show for a long time.
I hope so.
It's a blessing to be here.
Good. Now, Sidders is here, fresh off the back of his recent release, I believe on last Wednesday. Am I correct?
Last Wednesday, and Smile, and it feels so nice to have it out. You know, and it's like it's been a real process, and when you can finally share it with the people around you, the people you love, and the people into my music, it's satisfying. I think I woke up that day with the biggest smile, the biggest smile on my face that I could possibly have. It was incredible.
And talk to me about the release. So it came out on Wednesday, and if I'm correct, you had a show at the Hackney Social.
Yeah, so we did. I thought it was only right because in the last couple of years, like I had a big feature, which I think we'll talk about later. We're on Frankie Stu and Harvey Gunn's recent album. But this was the first like solo release and proper single and part of a project for a couple of years for me since 2022. So I thought it was right to have a big party, and we took Hackney Social for the night, sold it out. It was full of people, friends and family, like fans as well. And we just had a big gig, 6-piece band.
Amazing.
Like ran through all of the old songs, finished with a new one, and yeah, it was a beautiful experience.
Are you an East London boy before you moved? Because you're North London now, aren't you?
No, I'm North London born and bred.
Okay.
I've lived all about. Like I spent a couple of years in Brighton.
Yes.
Which not many people know, but so I'm tied to there. But then I think my heart stays in North.
Amazing. And to go back to, you said it was a couple of years ago since you last released. So this must feel extra special then, the fact that it's been such a wait, you know? It's
been a proper long time coming. Like I think for every creative process, people would have made music. I know sometimes it can be quick, but for me, we recorded the song maybe a year and a half ago.
Wow, okay.
And so I'd been doing, anytime it was a smaller gig, I was playing actually some of the tracks that will be on this project. And so it felt weird that these songs that I'd been performing and listening to myself were still living on my laptop and not out there with the world.
Yeah.
And so it definitely makes it extra special that it's been a long time coming. And knowing that the creative headspace that I was in when I recorded them is definitely where I'm at now. And it's almost more of a representation of who I am as an artist now compared to, say, in 2022 when I was dropping tracks like Live for Something, Home Alone, which I still love, but it's nice to have evolved into where I'm at now.
The development.
Yeah.
Now, you've spoken about this project, which I believe is entitled After Hours. Is that correct?
After Hours, but it's with a slash, so it's like After Hours, like the time, and then After Hours, which is like ours.
Yeah.
And
talk to me about it.
The whole idea came from, have you seen The Hain?
I have.
So they have this thing which is like the world is yours, and then they cross out the Y and it's the world is ours. And I really love that idea, and I was like, okay, how can I use something like that similar to my music and where my headspace is at? And it had just come off the back of a breakup, and I thought it was interesting to look at how After Hours is when you go on the dates and you spend time and you're intimate with someone, and as soon as it finishes, it becomes After Hours because it's so different to how it was before and how quickly you transition to that. And so I thought it was very apt. I thought it was apt for the project just to describe that interesting thing.
And as a project, because this is the first track, am I correct in thinking that? So are you able to say how many are coming out or when they're coming out? Or
it's a mad one because I always had locked in that it would be like 6 tracks. But then any time that I hop in the studio, so I've been working with this guy, Jared Lavelle, and he's so good, and he just understood what the project was about. And so initially it was going to be 6, but then anytime I jump in, I make something that could almost land on it as well. And so while I have that timeline, it's like, who knows? It could be 7, it could be 8. But Smile is like the introduction to the album or extended project, just because it feels like a full-on freestyle and outlet of everything that was going through my head at the time. And when I look back on the lyrics, I didn't really think about it, but it really does feel just like an extended monologue or an extended written piece of exactly how I was feeling. And so I thought it was only right to be the first track off of the project.
Amazing. Now we're jumping ahead slightly here because I was going to come to this slightly later on, but you're talking about the lyrics here, and there was one such lyric that I've chosen to take out. That was, since I signed the deal, it's like my mind's been playing Ghost.
Yeah.
And going through your back catalogue, you know, there is inherently it's such a happy style and it's cheerful, and there's intrinsically it feels quite London centric. And I spoke about with you before the show Nate Brazier in the studio last year, and he had a similar kind of feeling of like being with your people, being with your crew, and that feels very your kind of music. But this lyric, I don't know, and there seemed a different touch with Smile and this the record you put out and the forthcoming EP, in that you feel a little bit more introspective. Is that, would you say that's the case?
Think 100%, and that's one thing that I enjoyed, especially recording this and now putting it out there, is that it has been such a different process and thing to tracks that I've released in the past. Like in the past, it was like, what do I love listening to and what do I want my friends to hear, and expressing myself as a songwriter but just writing good songs. Whereas this feels like there's a little bit more meaning to it and it is more personal. And that lyric in particular, since I signed a deal, it's like my mind's been playing Ghost. I think the full one is weight up on my shoulders, now I guess it's time for action, but since I signed a deal, it's like my mind's been playing Ghost. It's because at the time I signed a publishing deal, and to the world it seemed like everything was incredible and
the pieces had aligned.
Yeah, had aligned, and it was in a great place. But really, I'd just come off the back of like a family member being very ill and passing away.
Oh, gosh.
And then I'd just moved to London, and so it was like the first steps of having the responsibility of diving into this musical journey. And then at the same time, you have family dynamics that never really change regardless of your like working situation. And so it was like, even though on paper it seems as though everything is like looking great, and to the outside eye it seems like everything's incredible, it was like really there was still the same problems that I was having to face and battle with. So yeah, that's the definition of that line. That was very well picked.
Live and direct. We touched a little bit on about Brighton. I thought we'd speak very quickly about it and then touch on it afterwards. The track Hurt Locker, which you featured on, of Frankie Stew and Harvey Guns.
That was an incredible moment for me. Like, basically growing up between London and Brighton, I've been a fan of Frankie Stew and Harvey Gunn for it seems like forever, and especially getting into hip hop, like they were the first, or one of the first, like UK hip hop like artists that we're listening to. And it was almost like a full circle moment when I got the message that they wanted one of the tracks to be on their album, and so yeah, it was a real pleasure to be featured on that.
Beautiful. I'm gonna play it now.
I don't see it.
That was Hurt Locker featuring Sidders by Frankie Stew and Harvey Gunn. You're locked in with Ralph on Reprezent 107.3 FM. Sidders in the studio tonight to chat through his recent single, Smile. Now, Sidders, tell me, I mean, you briefly just touched on it, but, you know, the rough situation that came about having that sample and, Hurt Locker.
How it came about. So, originally we were just in the studio, and it was how you do, like, when you go in, and a lot of the time, especially when I write, I'll just freestyle and let whatever is in my head just come out, and whether that be a mumble or whether that be, like, something that actually makes sense, but I'll voice note it and then make sense of the madness and really see if there's any links with how I'm thinking or feeling. And originally, we recorded it, but I didn't have time to pen verses. And so the whole time, like, I had it on my phone and I was like, this track feels incredible, but obviously it was missing verses. And I was like, okay, it's fine, let's not rush, like, we'll get back to it. And then all of a sudden I got hit up on email and they said, yo, I was in a session and I played it, I hope you don't mind. I played Frankie Stew and Harvey Gunn. And they really rock with it, and they would love to basically have the track on the album and fill the verses. And as soon as I heard that, I was there was only one option, and they took it, chopped it up, made it sound a bit more like a sample, which I like the style, and yeah, the rest was kind of history with that. Like, and then they put it on the album and got the feature and really supported me, especially as like an independent artist who's also kind of following their footsteps in how to do things. And also a special, like we mentioned that I'd lived in Brighton before, and it's like I remember listening to their music, and as well as that, I would also been like working menial jobs while chasing music, like working in a co-op. And then I know that Frankie Stu also worked in a co-op in Brighton.
Full circle.
It was like a proper full circle moment. So yeah, it was special.
Amazing. And that's off their album, I believe, The South Has Something to Say.
Yeah, The South Has Something to Say.
Yeah, wicked. To touch more on some of your releases, am I right in thinking was Breathe was that your first release?
So the first release was Amaru, but Breathe was off of an EP called About Time.
Okay.
And yeah, it's crazy that one is the track that's really connected with so many people. And I fully made it in my bedroom, like mixed it myself, mastered it myself. And
you mixed and mastered it yourself?
Yeah, mixed and mastered from my bedroom. But yeah, it's definitely a song that I love. Like alongside Smile, it was a very honest representation of where I was at. And yeah, my first dabbles into being a hip hop artist.
Amazing. Should we hear a bit more of it?
Yeah, let's listen.
To Japan, we can let's ride it out.
That was Breathe by Sidders. Now, we've spoken about your releases, past, present. I'd like to touch on a little bit about the future and what the future is going to hold for you as an artist.
So it's exciting, man. And I think, as we said before, like Smile is the first track off of After Hours. But following that is songs that have been really close to my heart. So one of the songs is called Honey and Lemon, which I first wrote alongside Smile maybe like 2-3 years ago. Really like when I was at a bit in my life that like really took like some grinding to get out of. And it's just very satisfying to finally be on the process of getting that out with the world. And so we've had Smile, we had the launch party for Smile. We'll have the next single, I think, in 6 weeks or in 5 weeks. The date is to be announced.
TBA, yeah.
But and then a final track called Make It Break, which is incredibly close to my heart. And we've shot the video, and the whole collective as a piece of artwork is just exactly how I wanted it to be. So I'm super excited.
Amazing. Yeah, that's great. I was just thinking about the music video because last time I saw you was at one of Soul Paradise's gigs, and I think you were just about to go and shoot that.
Yeah. I think we had just filmed it, or we were about to film.
Is that going to drop with the singles?
Yeah, it will drop with the singles. And it was with a director called Liam Wilmer Thompson, who is incredible, and he did the visuals for Paper Kisses, which came out.
Oh, I love that. Yeah,
so good, like incredibly edited, and on a creative wavelength, we're just so similar. And he smashed it, and the whole team alongside that has just been so good. And so for me, it's a real exciting part of my life and my career as a musician. Like, it's definitely an exciting time.
And you've spoken about the EP, you've spoken about that. Do you know where you're going in a direction, musically? Is it just, have you got stuff more to be released, or are you just going to see where it goes?
Well, I think this project is really like a start to finish journey and a story of exactly everything that was going through my mind. And that's like, as well as the good, the bad, and how to get yourself out of that.
It sounds quite cathartic.
100%. It's
big word, obviously.
I know. You're trying to catch me out. No.
Spell it.
Yeah, not spell it. But I'm super excited, and Smile is finally out with the world, and I couldn't be happier. And it's nice. It's nice.
Good vibes. I think we should wrap it up because I really want to hear Smile. I know everyone else wants to hear Smile if they haven't heard it already. And this could be its first play, maybe on Reprezent.
Yeah.
So
yeah, this is the first radio plug for the single. So
amazing. Honoured, truly. It's been lovely having you here, Sidders.
Honoured to be here. Thank you so much.
And yeah, we look forward to seeing where you go and what you release next.
Incredible. And if people want to follow Sidders Music on Instagram and socials,
you know where to go now. Love.
peace.
Check. Really felt myself for like the first time in a minute. Threw 10 out to the fam, I guess that's how you mend a home. Guessing on the surface I got senses and I'm healthy, when really I got demons and my body's on the ropes. I got